Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Power Hour Panel Talk. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Power Hour Panel Talk, where we get together and we discuss current events, everything that is happening across the country, across the globe, and even in your backyard sometimes. So, guys, how are you doing this evening?
Doing great.
Good. Excellent.
Great.
Perfect. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, I spoke about it earlier, and since we all have ties to California, all four of us on this show, we're going to talk about it because it is interesting. And I know Wade and I were having a conversation about it earlier on my show. And that is Governor Gavin Newsom will face recall. Governor Gavin Newsom will be facing recall in California. Now, this was a grassroots effort to get him out of office. But let me tell you, the people who wanted him out of office, the people that are pushing for this recall, they worked hard. They were out there every single day pushing and pushing and pushing to have him recalled. Now, in order for this recall to start moving forward, the one thing that has to happen is that 12% of voters have to sign a petition. And these people who fought day in and day out to get Gavin Newsom kicked out really fought, and they did push. They're in the process of trying to push him out, but it will be going to a recount vote. So let's start with Sohaila and Angel down there, since you guys are currently in California. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, I actually, put my name on there for recall, but it's better late than never, but we needed him out last year. But I don't know. What do you think? You think it's going to happen? Just because it's going to get voted on, I don't think it's going to happen, though, unfortunately. What do you think?
Well, I think, a lot of people they always say he's been making a lot of bad decisions. A lot of restaurants, a lot of business, they said they're not happy with him. So if he didn't make the right moves, he has to go.
So out of all of us, Wade doesn't live in California anymore. I didn't sign it. I was fine with what he was doing. I supported some of the lockdowns. So Sohaila, why did you sign the petition?
Well, because, I'm for the restaurant owners, and it just didn't make sense that, all these big stores were still open, but the little stores had to close, the restaurants had to close, the gyms had to close. Come on. But Costco could stay open, Home Depot could stay open, Big Lots could stay open, So what's the difference between a small store and a big store? It doesn't make any difference. So I really felt for the small stores. Half of them, eventually closed. It's so unfortunate.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's a big difference. That's why they closed the small business. It's money. That's a big difference.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wade, former Californian, why? What are your thoughts on this?
I'm just wondering at what point she's going to wake up and realize that she's not on a reality show.
Not Caitlyn Jenner yet.
Okay.
We're gonna get to Caitlyn Jenner. I promise. But Gavin first. So talking about Gavin first and the actual recall.
Right.
Oh well. I just did the math on that. 12% of 39.9 million, which was the 2021 population of California, according to Google. Just a quick search. I haven't verified that. Is about 4.7 million. 4.7 million people in California signed a recall.
So it was voters. So not the percentage of people in California, but voters.
Oh, voters. Okay.
So I do believe it's like 1.4.
I'm trying to figure out how many of those people have been dead for like a year or two. Their names just popped up on that signature.
Now, the main reason for the recall in California is because of the lockdowns. Many people do not agree with what he did when it came to locking the country down. Now, if we look at governors from across the country, we see that some governors did choose to put their states in the lockdown, and others chose to keep their states open. We're looking at you, Florida. Now, with this being said, we do know that when Gavin Newsom decided that he was going to put the state in lockdown is because there was no hospital beds available and that people were being turned away from the hospital because COVID-19 patients were taking up the majority of the hospital, and that people who were having other things that required emergencies were being rerouted elsewhere because of the massive amount of COVID-19 patients. So with that being said, do you think, so Joanna says, like New York went on lockdown as well, and they were happy about it. So with that being said, do you think that Gavin Newsom should have shut down the state when there were no hospital beds? And we'll go to you first, Sohaila.
Yeah, he should have shut down from the very beginning if that's what he was supposed to do and should have done, so we wouldn't have to get into this mess. I mean, it started off with the dickhead anyways, with red-haired guy, with our ex-president.
Orange guy.
With orange guy, yeah. He should have took the bull by the horns and shut everything down immediately in the first place. That's where it started all wrong, I believe.
You realize the president doesn't have the ability to shut everything down. Only the governors do.
Yeah, but he has a big influence, though. And I believe...
So if he had shut everything down, you'd be bitching that it was his fault that he shut everything down.
That's okay.
So I'm going to say this, right? I'm pretty sure that people know that I am not a big supporter of the former administration. However, right now, I think we really need to focus on what's happening with California, because the only person who had the ability and the authority to shut down California during COVID-19 was Gavin Newsom. And that is who is now being recalled.
Right. But it's ironic that as soon as Biden took office, boy, did he have a change of heart. He started opening things left and right after that. So
I'm going to say this. I don't think it was because of Biden. I'm telling you, things that are opening in California because the governor saw that recall was actually a possibility. So now the next thing comes with this recall is now that California is going towards this recall. So we're going to probably vote sometime in the summer for this. There are now people throwing their name into the hat to be considered for governor. And one of those people is reality TV star Caitlyn Jenner, former Olympian Caitlyn Jenner. Now, I know we were one of the first people to report that she was thinking about running. But now that we're in this situation where she could possibly now be running during the recall, it's something that we have to actually talk about because it could actually happen. I know I said actually a bunch of times, but there's a lot of actuallys here. We spoke about it, we laughed about it, we kid about it, but the last time there was a recall, we put an actor into the government as a governor in California. So it is a possibility. So wait, I know you have lots of thoughts about this. Caitlyn Jenner, Governor Caitlyn Jenner, possibly?
I mean, there are so many places I could go with this. And none of them, don't get me wrong, none of them are because she's transgender. None of them are because of that. It's simply because what the fuck makes you think as a reality TV star you can run literally the largest economy in the United States? What makes you think you're qualified for that?
Well, we had a reality TV star running the country for 4 years, so.
Yeah, but he owns tanks. So there's a difference there. And he actually did do some good things. I mean, he even went so far as to take his Humvees and convert them to electric because he wanted to show that he was doing what he preached. You need to do this. I'm going to do this as well. He did make some really good decisions because let's face it, he came from Russia, Ukraine, somewhere in there. I don't remember where. It's somewhere over there. He came here with two dreams. One of those dreams was to be a movie star, and the other one was to marry a Kennedy. And he did them both.
Big dreams for Arnold. So Joanna says, I don't understand California's mentality. It wasn't Gavin Newsom's fault that he didn't shut down in the beginning. We had a president at that who said we had nothing to worry about. Well, I guess all those who signed this petition are looking to replace Newsom with a reality star. Big mistake.
Yeah, I mean, if you were talking about the governing body of the, I don't know, the track and field of the Olympics, sure. I mean, if you were talking about a makeup company that works with your ex-wife and daughters, and with you now, sure. But what do you have that makes you a viable candidate other than your star power? And a box of Wheaties with your picture on it.
We don't have more people like that better than her, or than I don't know. It's a
Oh
guy
no,
that-
there's a lot of people. There are a lot of people throwing their name in the hat. It's just that Caitlyn Jenner is the most entertaining. I actually don't think so. I think when it comes time to go to the recall vote, so when when he faces recall, when Californians have to come out and actually vote, I don't think they're going to kick him out of office. About 53% of California voters in a recent poll said that they support him. So I don't think we're going to be in a position where he's kicked out. TLC. TLC from Joanna. So moving on.
Angel asks, what's TLC mean?
Tender
The
Loving
Learning
Care
Channel.
or the channel.
What?
Yep.
It's a TV channel. It's Tender Loving Care, but it's also a TV channel. But I thought they were on E. Weren't they on E? I don't know. One of those.
I don't know. They jump around channels as much as their daughters jump around boyfriends.
Next. Next. So this one is something that happened. We didn't get to speak about it last week. I wasn't here last week, but so there was a lot of commotion going on with this case, and there's a lot of people choosing sides and really debating what happened with this case. Now, a police officer shot and killed a 16-year-old girl. Now, when we watch the video, we see that the 16-year-old girl had a knife in her hand and that she was attacking another girl. Now, there are reports coming out stating that she's the one who called for help because people were attacking her. But when the police officer came on the scene, the first thing that he saw was the girl with the knife attacking another girl. Mm-hmm. Now, with that being said, this is a hard case to look at. And it's a hard case to look for me as well because there's a lot of things happening. And I want to put myself in the situation of each and every single person here. If I was arriving on the scene and I saw someone with a knife attacking someone else, I would do everything I can to try and stop that. Mm-hmm. Now, if I was being attacked and I found a knife, I'm probably going to fight back. If I'm the girl who's about to get stabbed, I would want someone to stop it. So when you look at all the different angles, it's a very hard case to look at. But with everything happening with police shootings and police brutality, it is easy just to say, boom, this is another cop killing somebody. Now, again, he could have chose to use his taser, but he doesn't know the situation. He arrived and he just saw someone with a knife in their hand. So again, this is a really, really hard case to look at. And at the end of the day, we have a child who is dead in this situation. Again, I believe she is the one who called for help. So let's go to Wade first. Wade, what are your thoughts about this situation?
Well, the first thing I want to address is I was ready to fight you for a second, Mel. I was waiting to see what you said because I was going to correct it. And I love how you put that because a lot of people right now are saying a white cop killed a black girl. No, a police officer killed a person with a knife that looked like they were going to attack somebody. So I'm glad that you kept that just people there. I love that. And I have to wholeheartedly agree with you. I would have to wholeheartedly agree with you. You have 9 seconds to figure out. I think they said he had 9 seconds to figure out what was going on and how he was going to react.
Well, it looked like from the short video I saw, that she was going after the cop. It looked like. And that's when. Oh, okay.
No, she was definitely going. So the reports and the video show that, and this is where I have trouble understanding. But at the same time, in the moment, like you said, when you look at it from potentially her perspective, she's on the ground with somebody. She's got a knife. She attempts to stab the person on the ground. She turns around. She sees another person close to her. She attempts to stab that person. But let's change that verbiage. I'm defending myself on the ground against this person, and I don't know what the person behind me is about to do, so I'm going to just react.
Well, I'm wondering, did she see the cop coming, or was she was on the floor with? I didn't see then I didn't see the right one then, because I thought that. I mean, I would think if you know that a cop's there, then drop the knife.
The problem is, again, in the moment. When you're in the middle of the battle, you are tunnel vision. You
Right,
are focused on the threat.
Right.
You are not focused on what's going on around you.
I agree.
So even if she had seen the police officer, she wouldn't have comprehended that she saw the police officer. She was either in blind rage and attack mode or in defense mode, one of the two. And just like the officer, he doesn't have time to stop and ask, hey, who called for help? Who's actually in trouble here? He just sees a person attempting to hurt another person with an object.
Yeah.
He's going to react. Whether it was with a taser or with a gun, he's going to stop the threat, and then you figure it out afterwards.
Yeah, and I agree with Johanna. You know, this is the time he should have used a taser, not shoot him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it
Again,
So
in
even
the
then
moment,
with-
you don't have time to think about it, potentially.
So, like I said, this is a really hard case to look at because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, a child is dead, and it's looking as though that she is the one who called for help. But in that moment, I'm really looking at it from all perspectives. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe that in this country we had to have police reform. I believe there's a lot of situations where cops use the wrong amount of force, where they use guns when they shouldn't. But this situation it's a really hard case to look at because it's possibly a girl who was calling for help who's now dead. And like, I'm going to be honest, if I'm being jumped and I see a knife,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stab some. Like, I'm going to protect my life because if I don't pick up, if someone is jumping me and they see the knife, they're probably going to take the knife and stab me. This is a
right. I agree. Yeah,
it's
I
a
agree.
really hard thing to look at.
Right.
But again, if I'm walking by, like let's say that I see someone or someone, let's just say I'm a police officer and someone calls for help, and then I see someone, I'm gonna stop it.
Mhm.
I guess the thing to really look at is whether or not the gun was the appropriate tool to use.
Mhm. That's what I'd like to see if he gets asked a question. Why didn't you use the taser and not a gun? I would love to know his thought on that.
And at the end of the day, he could really say, I was trying to save a life.
Uh-huh. The taser is not always effective. You don't know if that person, and you can see it on the news and on YouTube all day long, where they use tasers on people and it does absolutely nothing.
That's true.
So let's say I was just a citizen walking down the street, right?
Mhm.
And I had the choice between a taser and a pistol on my side. And I saw a person getting ready to stab someone with a knife. I'm going to shoot them. I'm going to end that threat. I'm not going to use the taser because there's no guarantee that the taser works. I don't know if they're on drugs. I don't know if they're hopped up. I don't know if I'm going to hit both pins at the exact spot I need on that person to stop them. But I do know if I hit them with a round, I'm going to stop them. So I would lean towards using a round. And I think any reasonable person in that situation would probably make the same decision. They would not stop and say, should I use a taser or should I use a gun? Because in the time it takes you to figure that out and the time it takes you to make that decision, she could have stabbed and killed that girl. And no matter if she called for help or not, that makes her a murderer. So there's a lot of different things. It's easy to look at it now. Hindsight's 2020. Why didn't you use your taser? Why didn't you reach for the left instead of the right? Why didn't you throw a rock at him? Why didn't you tackle him? There's a ton of things you can look at now, but in the moment, none of us were in the moment.
Right. Agreed.
So, like I said, this one is a very hard case. I'm not really. It's a hard case. This is a hard case in so many different levels, and it really just does.
See it as a hard case. I see it as cut and dry. There was a person that was going to do bodily harm to another person, and the officer reacted. He did his job to protect them. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what the backstory was, it's the same thing as when you get in a fight. When you knock somebody down, if you continue to beat them up, that's assault. It's no longer self-defense. She had no active threat at that moment. She was the active threat.
Yeah, I think there'll be.
I'm also going to say that it's. Go ahead, Sohaila. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying. I know there's going to be an investigation like everything, but I don't think he's going to get in trouble for it either. Yeah.
No, I think he acted appropriately.
So I don't think he's going to get in trouble for it. But I will say this: if the girl did call for help and she did find that knife and people are jumping her, she's perceiving threats. Like all the people around her that are jumping her, she's perceiving them as a threat. So again, she thinks she's surrounded by a threat, and that's why she acts. That's why I say that it is a hard case, because I don't.
Yeah.
Especially if she did call, I don't think she went in saying, "Oh, I'm going to murder someone today." I think she went in saying, "I'm going to protect myself from people jumping me."
That's another unfortunate situation.
I don't think that's a fair assessment, Sean.
There should be training to stop or tech use to stop the individual without the use of deadly force. People that are advanced training.
Sohaila, read it out loud, Sohaila.
Yeah, so Sean is saying the problem is that there should be training to stop or teach or tech use to stop the individual without the use of deadly force. All people that are advanced trained in martial arts know how to take away a knife. Police have tanks, but do not have tech to stop a single person in the moment within deadly force.
I don't know if I agree with that.
So what do you disagree with?
I agree partially with that. If there is time and if there is the ability, I would agree with you. But sometimes there's not time or the ability. How far was that officer from her? A bullet travels a whole lot faster to stop a threat than I do running across the ground to engage in hand-to-hand combat with somebody about to stab somebody. I'm sorry, I have to disagree in this one. Now, if this person had a knife and they were standing in the middle of the road and they were 10, 15 feet away from people and they were getting ready to rush somebody and the cops rushed in and went hand-to-hand combat with them, okay, cool. But at the same time, as a police officer, and I haven't been a police officer, but if you put yourself in a position to be injured and you get injured, how can you help anybody else?
That's true. Do you have the footage of that, Mel?
I could find the footage. I watched it several times. I made the decision that I don't want to put these videos on the broadcast. Yeah. I'll put them on the Twitter page, on the Twitter page and elsewhere. I'll put it there where people can click it, because usually on Twitter it says sensitive information and it allows you to pick. But I made the decision I'm not going to put it here.
I'll make sure to watch it right after and check it out.
Okay, and I can send it to you. And then Joanna says he should have used his taser. Period.
Yeah.
Now, on a lighter note, I know we all kind of disagree with it. I say this is a tough case. I'm going to continue saying this. For me, this is a very tough case. Child lost her life, didn't need to lose her life. But if you put yourself in the position of every single person there, I feel like they tried to make what they thought was the best. It may not have been the best decision. They tried to make the best decision for them at the moment. And unfortunately, because of the way that events turned out, someone lost their life who didn't need to lose their life.
I agree.
So I'd like to tag on to that for a second. So if it comes out that the girl who lost her life was the one getting jumped and she was calling for help, all right, and she was in that moment, the two other girls that were there should be charged.
I agree.
Their direct actions resulted in her death.
I agree. Yeah.
I completely agree. So I think manslaughter charges. If that's what after an investigation, if that's what they show, then I do
Yep.
believe those two girls to be charged with manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on a lighter note, something else that we don't agree on, but much lighter note, President Joe Biden and eat less meat. Now, we do know on Earth Day there was a virtual summit, and I believe about 42 countries came together to talk about what we're going to do with global warming. Now, the United States is trying to put itself back in the position of being a leader when it comes to climate change. They had this virtual summit. They've re-entered the United States in the Paris Agreement. There are a lot of things that the United States is trying to step up and do. Now, there's one comment made by Joe Biden that took off. Now, again, I don't know why the comment got morphed, because I know because I first heard about it when people started saying that Joe Biden was trying to ban meat. And me being a vegan, I thought that was very interesting, but that is not that's not the case. That's not what's happening. Now, Joe Biden did make a comment talking about limiting, and again, telling Americans that they should limit the amount of meat that they eat, but he's not making it a law that Americans can't eat meat or can only eat a certain amount of meat. Now, I'm a vegan. Wade is a barbecue master. And
Our
probably
company's name is Smoke and Bacon.
And then Sohaila and Angel do eat meat. So I don't think anyone eats as much meat as Wade unless you go down to Texas. But let's go to Wade first. What are your thoughts about this whole Joe Biden eat less meat?
So I think in this case, and everyone knows I love making fun of Joe Biden, all right? Slippery Joe. I mean, this guy, he'll talk this way, that way. He's like a fucking Wonka Vader. He's every which way, all right? But in this case, I have to agree that the media sensationalized what he said. They saw an opportunity, seized it, and went from there. Now, is his plan dumb about the meat? In my opinion, yes. I have 3 barbecues on my deck, all right? So I think I think that part of his plan is ignorant, but I think somebody seized that opportunity in the media to sensationalize something to get views, clicks, whatever.
I say yay for the animals. Yay. They're free. Let them free. So I don't really eat too much meat. My body tells me when I need the protein, but Angel eats a lot of meat.
One of the things that really make me upset is when you offer something. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't eat. I'm a vegan. To me, what?
I'm okay with that.
You know what? Yeah, but you know what? They're kind of always saying, I'm a vegan. I don't get.
You have a problem with me, Angel?
No.
You have a problem with me? I feel so attacked right now.
Because right now,
I feel so attacked. What's your beef with me, Angel?
But look, I don't like carrots in the morning.
You don't like carrots
in the morning? So I'm gonna have to say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't eat carrots in the morning. Why did I have to spread that what I don't like to everybody? Why I had to make somebody like a
nothing's wrong with being a vegetarian. I mean,
there's nothing wrong. And I'm not saying it's something wrong. I'm just saying why they had to say.
Well, Angel, I have to tell you I'm a vegan when you're always offering me tacos.
Right?
I have to tell you why I can't eat your tacos.
He said you look like you need some meat on your bones.
You know what? I have a helper. He doesn't eat. He doesn't drink soda. No, he only eats seeds and what else? And water.
Is
and
he a
he's
fucking bird?
Yes, I think so. He's so skinny. But you know what? Now that I say, tell me what you don't eat. Oh, I don't eat. Okay, perfect. So you know what? I just don't invite him to do anything. I don't even have to worry about him because I know. Because first of all, and sometimes he'll start telling me, I don't need this. I say, okay, I know you're vegan. You told me that a couple times already. So come on.
But what's wrong with being a vegan, though?
It's nothing wrong with a vegan.
Or even a vegetarian.
But why they make it so important?
Because they just tell people what's
Well,
wrong
it's
with
okay,
that.
Rochelle. It's okay. Keep it for yourself. That's not.
I'm sorry, Angel. I didn't know that I offended you so much with my presence.
No,
Now that I know how
I
you
have.
really feel.
I'm just.
I have taken a piece of rebar and shoved it through a piece of steak and cooked it with a torch on a job site.
Well, I don't agree with them. I don't agree with them. I mean, if somebody was a vegan or a vegetarian, I respect that. And if they come over, you have the appropriate food for them. That's called respect.
Mm-hmm.
There's Joanna laughing at you. Or
Right?
laughing at us. I don't even know who she's laughing.
I mean, I kid you not. I have actually taken a piece of rebar, shoved it through a piece of steak, and used a torch on a job site and made lunch.
I believe that. I wish there was pictures. I believe
You know, the only thing that pisses me off about vegans is when they make their animals vegan. Look, you
Yeah,
have a
that's-
choice to eat plants,
Yeah.
all right? Your damn dog.
I'll
is
say
hungry.
that.
Feed it.
Don't make your dogs and cats vegan. They
I have a
actually need meat
client
because
that
it's-
I have a client that she has a rabbit, and the rabbit is vegan. Only eats lettuce, grass, and I don't know. But
That's because a rabbit is a herbivore.
I am Joanna. I'm offending the meat eaters. Never thought I'd see that day. So
Yeah.
the whole thing with all fun and games, laughing at the vegan, but the whole thing with eating mess is actually better for the environment because we all know that part of the reason why that ozone is going bye-bye is because of the methane gas that is coming from cows farting. So if you eat less meat, there's less cows in production because right now in the United States, like it's not raising cows, it's cows in production. And
it's not expensive.
what'd you say?
The poopery isn't expensive.
I know, but it does cause damage to the earth, and it is part of the reason why the temperature is rising on
What
the planet.
scientist said this?
What happened?
What scientist said this?
Oh, there's actually a
it's
lot of
actually true.
this is actual scientific studies.
This is why AOC wanted to shove a tube in cows' asses and collect the
What
methane.
about humans farting?
It's our so because of our diets,
We don't have
cow
three
farts
stomachs.
and human farts are not.
Oh, look at the time.
Look, I
So-
do my part to help you out, Mel. I eat the cow to save your food. Sounds like I need to uptick my cow intake.
But thank you, Wade. But at the end of the day, the United States is trying to do its part to help with climate change because there are several factors. There are several huge factors,
So
which is
if you
contributing to global warming. Which is Angel?
If they're trying to collaborate with the temperatures, why they don't stop the experiments with the NASA and the other thing? Those experiments creates a lot of heat when they send the space shuttles to the space. That's a lot of heat. They're
So-
burning.
Logic could be applied to everybody stop driving.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the heat that's created, but it's the fossil fuels being used. And yes, but when you look at the scale of what's happening, NASA's pretty low. Like space
it creates
exploration is pretty
a
low.
lot of smoke when the space shuttle goes to the space.
That's because it's cold.
know what? I'm
They
going
need
to
to
do
stop that. You know
Going to do it.
why we need to find more life in other planets if we cannot handle the contamination.
More
of the earth.
veggie burgers.
We can't find intelligent life here. We have to look somewhere else. But you know
So
what? I'm
moving
going to
on,
do it.
guys, moving on because we're not even talking about Joe
I
Biden
am
and his
going to
meat
make a
comment.
global
We are now
war
talking about
versus
cow farts,
NASA rocket fucking graph.
NASA, and all this other stuff. So moving on, guys. Thank you,
Yes.
thank you for your opinions
I have
about
the solution for
Joe
the
Biden and
global
eat less
warming.
meat. We have completely moved away from this conversation.
I am so making a cow fart versus NASA rocket chart.
Please do that. Please do that and put it on.
That is
So
right
moving
up
on,
our
guys.
alley.
Let's talk about the vaccine because with something else that we don't agree on whatsoever. So the vaccine. Millions and millions of Americans are getting the vaccine. People are going in. They're getting their first dose. Now, the great thing about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was it was a one and done. With Johnson & Johnson, you could go in, get that one shot, and not have to worry about going back. But with the recent threats of these extremely, extremely rare blood clots, many people have decided to not get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and many places have put it on pause. Now, while the Johnson & Johnson was praised because it was a one-and-done vaccine, Moderna and Pfizer both require 2 shots. But we are now seeing that millions of Americans are not returning for their second shot of the vaccine. And there could be various reasons. People don't want to make the time. People think they're safe with just the 1 shot.
Oh, wow.
So Sohaila, what are your thoughts on people not returning for that second vaccine?
Well, that's just too bad. Oh my gosh. I don't agree with the vaccine. I won't get it. I know Angel did. That's probably another story. But wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So what's going to happen? Well, they're just going to have to. What happens? Is it null then, after null and void, if you don't get the second one, or what?
So probably I'm going to cancel my second shot. If they ask me why, I say, well, because I was on the Power Hour panel talk, and they say.
He's blaming this straight on you, Mel, because it ain't on me.
Oh, I saw that. You can't even blame it on me, because I am definitely going out there. Hope I'm sharing the right page. There we go. There's me getting my first shot. Nice. And I am scheduled to get my second shot May 18th. So I am going out there. I got my shot. I will say this about this. I got the first dose, and I did get Moderna. And I will say this. After I got the shot, I didn't get sick, but I was so tired. Maybe 2 or 3 hours later, I was very, very fatigued afterwards, and I slept like a baby. I just had to stop. That was the day. That was the day that I tried to. That I wasn't even on the show with you guys, because I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna get home," because I thought I was gonna be capturing the protest that happened, but there was no protest because of the direction that the case went with Derek Chauvin. And then I was driving home, and then I pretty much passed out. I mean, I couldn't even drive anymore. So that was what happened with the vaccine. But it's now being shown that millions of Americans are not going back for their second dose. Now, you're not fully protected unless you get both doses. So Wade, what are your thoughts about people not going and getting that second dose? But Joanna says, but that was let me read this comment really quick. But that was expected. It was going to be a problem getting people back for the second dose. And then go ahead, Wade.
So there's a couple things that I attribute to this. All right. And I'm not a medical doctor, but common sense tells me that if you don't get the second dose, then all you've done is started to create a super bug. All right. Just like when you are told you need to take all of your antibiotics and you cut them through halfway because you're feeling better. Whatever that item is starts to build an immunity to those antibiotics because you didn't kill it all the way. So if you've gotten 1 shot, you're actually hurting the people that do have the shots because everyone, because the virus could potentially build an immunity to it and mutate again. But then again, the virus is mutating anyway, and the shot's only good for 6 months. So, and then you have all these people, and when I say all these people, I don't know the exact numbers, but I can tell you almost every single person I know that has it, with the exception of like 2 or 3, they all feel like crap the next day and have to take the day off of work. They've got a fever, they've got chills, the whole 9 yards. Again, I'm not a doctor, but a fever means your body's fighting something. So
I
don't know. What I can tell you, though, is if you started the process, you should commit to finishing it.
Yeah, I agree. I heard, though, that even if you get the second shot, it's still not 99%. It's like 70%, right? So what's the difference?
So I heard an explanation the other day that actually made a lot of sense. The vaccine is not meant to keep you from getting it. It's not even meant to keep you from getting sick. It's meant to keep you out of the hospital. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the bulk of it. So it's a couple things. It's number one, it's to protect people who are vulnerable, because if a bunch of people have the vaccine, then we're safer as a society. And then
Right.
Joanna says, yep, that's a problem. The second thing is, if you get the vaccines, then if you do get COVID, then it's probably just going to be like the regular flu. You don't need to go to the hospital, probably take a couple of days off, but you're fine. Without the vaccine, we'll see more and more people in the hospital. So they're trying to make COVID-19 into something that's manageable rather than millions dying. And then Angel.
Anyway.
Angel,
Well,
what's your thought?
My question is, okay, if the vaccine is only good for 6 months, if we had to go back and take the shots, is it going to be free again, or they just?
Like drug
I'm
dealers,
not sure.
first one free.
I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do this in 6 months. I'm not sure. And with the way, I'm not trying to fearmonger, so please, I'm not trying to fearmonger. But with the way that COVID-19 is mutating in India with the double mutation,
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
I'm not even sure if this vaccine is going to be able to deal with that double mutation. Now, viruses mutate; it's just what they do. It's part of their path to surviving. So sometimes they mutate and they become weaker, and we can deal with it as society. And sometimes they mutate and it becomes stronger and affects us more as humans. With this double mutation that's happening in India, it's mutating to where it can harm us more. And scientists and doctors are afraid that this double mutation may be resistant to the vaccine. Now, we see right now that this double mutation in India is causing havoc in India. I mean, India is going through a huge issue right now. We do know there's a lot of people. We do know that the healthcare system wasn't really made to deal with something like that in India. Right now, India is going through it. And I think the last numbers that I saw that came out, that if India continues this way, by the time it gets to June, they'll see 2,000 plus deaths a day.
Oh my God.
A
in
day?
India, if they continue around this way. So again, there's vaccines in India. It's nowhere close to how they're vaccinating here in the United States, but they are vaccinating in India. But we see that this double mutation is really causing problems in India.
What a shame.
What are you thinking, Wade?
So viruses mutate all the time.
All the time. That's what they do.
So is it fair to actually call it a double mutation?
So the way that it's been mutating. So that's the phrase that they're using out in the media. So with the way that it's been mutating, it's like been mutating once and that's affecting, it's mutating once and it's affecting. Like this like double mutated quickly and it's like hitting. So it wasn't just like one mutation, it was like two mutations simultaneously or back to back. I don't really remember the exact medical, the exact science behind it, but it wasn't mutating like the rest, like it was mutating before. This was the COVID-19 back that went to India and then it saw two different types of mutation. So it's a little bit different. Also, they found one case of the W mutation in California. But I do get what you're saying. Of course we did.
I told you earlier today, that bitch needs to disappear like Atlantis and fire and chaos in one night.
So can you put that comment back up from Joanna? So it may be like any flu shot. The flu strand changes every year, and that's true. So it just may end up being like the flu shot, where every year we go and get our COVID-19 vaccine. But we'll see.
So are you saying that they're anticipating 2,000 deaths a day if it gets that bad?
Yeah, in India. It's getting pretty bad in India. It's not just the double mutation. It's also just the way that hygiene is in India. I am not trying to be like, I was really kind of see how I was going to say this. I don't want to be offensive to anyone in India or anyone who is Indian, but we do know that in more like country areas or in places in India that are less developed, that hygiene isn't necessarily as good as it is here in the United States. And that's part of the reason why it's also spreading like wildfire in India. And then on top of that, the healthcare system is just not equipped to deal with that, especially in rural areas in India.
So I've got a question for you. 2,000 sounds like a bad number, right? Sounds like a lot of people. According to the latest census in India from last year, there are 1.366 billion people in India. If you divide that by 2,000 a day, that is 683,000 days, or 1,871 years before you took out everybody.
I know, but whether at the end of the day we're talking about like human life, and if 2,000 people are dying, like that's just, to me it's human life, right? 2,000 people is 2,000 people too much from one thing.
But how does that compare against everything else in India killing people?
So I'll say this, right? So when we look at 2,000 people, I don't care whether it's India, I don't care whether it's the United States, I don't care whether it's England, Germany, Tanzania, I don't care where it is. So if you're saying that 2,000 people are dying solely because of COVID or COVID-related deaths, that's still an issue because it's something that could be dealt with. Now, people could be dying from other things. People could be dying from cancer. People could be dying from heart disease. People could be dying from the flu, but it's not anywhere close to 2,000 people a day. Because that's not just like 2,000 people a day and then they get a couple days. It's looking as though it's going to be 2,000 people a day every single day. So in 2 days, that's over 4,000 people. In 3 days, that's over 6,000 people. In 4 days, it's still a lot of. I don't even care what their population is. I don't care what their population, because that's human life that's being lost that doesn't need to be lost.
Agreed. Of course.
It's at the end of the day, it's human lives. And I know a lot of times when we do start talking about numbers and we look at statistics, like, oh, this percentage isn't high. That's 2,000 people a day. I mean, if I went out and killed 2,000 people a day, if I went out and I killed 2,000 people a day, people would look like that'd be crazy. So that's the thing, is that India is getting to a point where 2,000 human lives will be lost, and that's not okay with me. I think we do need to find some way to curb that, even in an area like India where they have a huge population.
Yep. What else is going on? What else is going on?
So
I'm confused because we talk numbers all the time, and numbers
they're important.
They're important.
I don't want people to forget that these numbers are human lives. I mean,
correct, and so are car deaths. I mean, there's 5,400 a year right now in car deaths. Okay, granted, that's not 2,000 a day. There's 5,400 a year. If that's 5,400 too many, take the cars away. I mean,
I don't think that's a proper analogy. Car deaths are preventable.
You can't choose one thing and say
that's the thing. Car deaths
bad.
are preventable, and here's how we curb car deaths. We put legislation in place in order to protect people. We put stop signs. We put traffic lights. We put airbags in cars. We put seatbelts. Okay, so there are ways to bring the numbers down.
We put legislation in place to put masks on, to close stores, to prevent people from getting together.
That's the United States. That's not India.
I'm just saying the logic applies. It's the same.
And I agree. I think that legislation should be in place, whether it's India, the United States, anywhere. If there's something that's causing this much death, that there should be some kind of legislation in place, that the medical community should step up and do something like we have been doing. So I know you're trying to like persuade me to think differently, but I actually do agree with legislation put in place to curb people from dying.
Next time.
Yeah, I mean, I just find it amusing that we focus on this one item, and we being not just us, everybody focuses on this one item, when there's so many more other things that could stop human deaths across the world that are easier to stop, but we're all freaking out about this number, this item.
So Joanna says numbers are important. We're not valuing human lives anymore, and that's sad. So like I said, so I'm not just talking about, when it comes to India, I'm not just talking about the vaccine. I think things need to be put in place, and just India is not equipped to deal with it. And I know we're supposed to be talking about the millions losing their second dose, but this is important as well, because if it starts creeping out from India, if the COVID, it has, but I mean like at greater numbers, because the population of India is so high, it could be devastating, and it could send us all back into some kind of lockdown. everything and push back, especially if this double mutation doesn't really work with the vaccine.
Well,
and that's what scientists are afraid of.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, okay, so if half of the people aren't going back for their second shots and it's going to go all back again, it's never going to go away then. So what are we supposed to do? You know,
Right.
are they going to shut down again, right? So
not a good point.
Let me read this comment from Sean really quickly, guys. So Sean says more people in rural regions live in India than all the United States. So
You
just
got
to
a
put
better
those
point.
numbers in perspective.
Yeah.
yeah,
Perfect.
it's just going to be a
last
never-ending vicious cycle then.
it is a vicious cycle. I don't know what we're gonna do if we end up just going into a big complete circle.
I know what we're going to do.
I know.
People are going to lose their shit, and we're just going to go back to opening everything up and let the cards fall where they may, which is not the right thing to do, but that's what's going to end up happening.
Well, I think it is the right thing to do. I think just open everybody up and just be done with it. I think
So-
that they should have kept everything open in the first place and just went on with our lives.
So like I'm gonna comment on California because I
have to
live
agree
through
with Mel
California.
on this one. That's not the right way to go.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Power hour history. Mel and Wade agree, and Mel and Sohaila disagree.
Yeah.
History. History. So if you guys are watching live, you guys just saw history in the making. Let's close out with this. I had a couple more things on the docket, but let's close out with one of my favorite people to criticize, and that's Tucker Carlson. So Tucker Carlson,
That shit bag.
Right?
I mean, he's urges viewers to accost mask-wearing strangers, talking about dialing 911 if they see kids with masks. Excuse me. So
Wow.
I don't know where Tucker's going with this one. Like everything that Tucker says is kind of out there. It's kind of out there. I usually do not agree with Tucker, but I think this one is a little dangerous with what he was saying with the mask. And I think there's something else that happened with Tucker either this evening or yesterday as well. But we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to really focus here on the mask. People are still going to wear masks. The CDC is releasing different guidelines. It seems like every other day about what people who have received the vaccine can and cannot do. But we're still in a situation where many states still have a mask mandate. We're in a situation where people are still being advised to wear a mask in order to go about their daily lives. Now, there are many states where they're becoming more lax when it comes to masks. However, if people choose to wear masks, if people choose to keep their kids in mask, respect that. I still wear my mask when I go out every day. I'm vaccinated, as you saw in the picture. But telling people to call 911. So Joanna says, "What about Tucker Carlson?" I don't. Everything's wrong. Anyway, so what are your thoughts? I don't even. Wade, let's go to you first, Tucker.
So I haven't heard this from Tucker Carlson yet. I haven't heard this controversy. So on my other screen here, I just pulled up some of the things he said. And I haven't had a chance to review them all. But apparently what he said was, as for forcing children to wear masks outside, that should be illegal. Your response when you see children wearing masks as they play should be no different from seeing someone beating a kid at Walmart. Call the police immediately. Contact Child Protective Services. Keep calling until someone arrives. What you're looking at is abuse. It's child abuse, and you're morally obligated to attempt to prevent it.
Wow.
I don't know that I would have went that far, comparing it to child abuse. I would have said forcing children to wear masks outside with playing is no different than an adult working out that doesn't have to wear a mask. I would have went that way, but I wouldn't have compared it to child abuse and calling Child Protective Services. So I'm not sure what he was actually trying to get across. I'm not sure. I think he definitely got the ratings. He got what he wanted. People are talking about
That's
it.
exactly what he's all about is the ratings. He wants to be seen and known, and he does a great job of it with the controversy. That's exactly what it is.
So, I mean,
But
I can agree that the children should not have to wear masks if they're outside playing. It's no different than running and not wearing a mask.
so here's the thing, right? If you have 6 kids playing in a sandbox together, I don't even know if kids still play in sandboxes. I don't even know if they still have sandboxes. But I'm going to use sandboxes as the
Not
as
according to
the-
these parents out here. Sandboxes are evil.
so I'm going to use sandboxes in terms of the example I'm going to say. If it's 6 kids sitting in a sandbox close together, I'd be like, yes, wear a mask. Wear a mask.
Right.
If it's kids running around, like with distance, I don't think they need. I'm not gonna say I don't think they need to wear
Just
masks.
say it, Mel. No mask.
No.
Just say it. Just say it.
No, you're not gonna
It's
get me to
okay,
say
Mel,
it.
come
Sohaila.
on, say it.
I'm not gonna say it.
Say it.
I'm still pro mask right now. But I'll say this: when I go hiking, and it's just me and my partner, and it's just us next to each other, we both are vaccinated.
Yeah.
We take the mask off while we're hiking. Again, there's no one else around.
No,
So-
step back for a second. Don't throw vaccinated in there. Would you do it whether you were vaccinated or not?
We're in the same household. We're in the same household.
Oh,
It is what- I'm sorry.
Say it. Say it.
I'm trying to keep my personal life and like my living situation, everything out of it. Anyway, so since we're in the same household, yes, I would still do it. So
Yeah.
that's something like if a kid is running around and there's no other kids around, I think it's fine. I think it's fine if kids are playing. If a kid is on his bike and he's pedaling away,
yeah.
there's no one. I think it's fine. If kids still chose to wear it, I think that's fine as well because the masks aren't. Like I know they had the whole reports coming out like, oh, masks can be dangerous, and then they proved that masks really aren't dangerous to wear.
Depending on the type of mask.
Even then, I mean, when I was in high school, I put one of those like mask on that was like, because that was like the whole craze. Maybe it was a little bit after I came out of high school, where they had the mask on to like limit your breathing to make it seem like you were running in the high altitudes. Yes, I was an athlete, varsity athlete. So anyway,
I
and I was a boxer.
I thought you were going like Darth Vader style, just walking down the hallway wearing a mask.
No. So as an athlete, we would run with these masks on because
That's training.
I actually
Yeah.
think this was I think I was out of high school. This is when I was boxing. We would run with these masks on to like kind of constrict our breathing and make it seem like we were running in high altitudes.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
training.
not-
Makes your lungs stronger.
Exactly.
Well,
So
I
I'm-
believe
so-
that everybody should, if they want to wear a mask, let them decide if they want to wear it or not. That's the bottom line. If they feel comfortable wearing a mask, then wear a mask. If you don't feel comfortable, don't wear a mask. But people shouldn't have to be ridiculed for that as well.
So
Both ways.
here's where I disagree. If a business says you have to wear a mask, put your mask on and go shopping.
I agree.
No shirt, no shoes, no service.
I agree. Right.
And I think because when we see people
Unless you're at the
talk about
beach.
this whole mask debate, like most of the time it's sorry, Karens. Most of the time it's Karens, both male and female, going into stores saying, I'm not gonna wear a mask and you can't stop me in your private establishment. So like that's the
Yeah, I
time
can.
that's the time that I'm saying like people call the police on people wearing a mask, but now Tucker Carlson is now saying to call the police on kids,
That's
parents
crazy.
who
That
are
is-
wearing masks. I think what he's doing is dangerous.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people
Yeah.
listen to what he says and takes it seriously, and then they go and they do it. And I think that is very, very dangerous. And if you're tying, so Joanna says, wow, he's an idiot. As always, he's looking for ratings. That's all it is. I agree there. People take what he says very, very seriously, and they're going to go out and do it. And it's going to tie up the phone lines. It's going to put a lot of families in weird situations because if people are getting multiple calls about child abuse,
Right.
someone's going to come out and talk to somebody. At the end of the day, whether it's true or not, if DIFUS, CPS, whatever it is, wherever you're from, is getting multiple calls about child abuse, someone's going to come out and talk to the families, and these families don't deserve to deal with this during an already crazy time.
I'm surprised that the station's letting that happen and letting him even say that.
It's Fox. I'm just gonna put it there. It's
no
Fox.
wonder. No wonder.
And then wait.
More importantly, those resources are used up chasing ghost calls instead of the kids that really need them.
Yep.
That's, I think, the more important thing. I think if CPS ever gets a call about anything, they should go and investigate, period.
Mm-hmm.
But because of this, they're going to be tied up in a bunch of bullshit, and the kids that actually need them, they're not going to be able to be there for.
Well, I say they should fine him for even saying that in the first place.
Then you got to fight the free speech argument.
Yeah. So the people that really should have so there's only one way to stop Tucker, and that's Fox. Because
They ain't
he's
gonna
going to
do
use
that.
they're going to use the free speech, right? But because Fox is the network that he's on, the only people that can tell Tucker to shut up is Fox.
Mhm.
They're the only people who can do it.
They're
Unfortunately.
not going to do that. You know why? Because we're talking about him. How many other people are talking about him?
Exactly.
How many news stories are talking about him?
That's why.
And even though he loses a lot of sponsors, there's always someone coming underneath to go. So his show's always going to have money. And even if it's not directly his show, it'll be the show right before him or right after him, something that can
Pick up on those coattails.
Exactly. So it's all about ratings. I mean, we say some crazy things for ratings, Angel.
Yeah, like NASA and cow farts. I'm still putting that grid together. Just so you know.
Put it together. We will share it with everyone who watches the Power Hour panel.
I'm gonna do it in crayon.
Okay, don't give it to a Marine though. Don't
Yeah, right. I'll eat it.
For those of you who are listening, we're making jokes because there's this whole thing about Marines who eat crayons. By the way,
It's not a joke.
So guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching the Power Hour panel talk. My name is Mel Andre. You can catch me live every single Monday through Thursday live with Mel. You can watch me on the ENSL channel on Roku TV with my talk show, The Mel Show. I like to talk. You guys like to hear me talk, I hope. So check out all of my shows, guys. And then to this side, Wade, what you got going on?
So we just finished up season 3 of all of our live streams. So everybody's on vacation for about a month. We're getting ready to bring in 7 whole brand new live streams, including you, Mel. We're going to bring you in. Yep. Change some minds, start some little controversies. We can go with that. So it's actually a whole lot of fun. We're getting ready to do all that. We got Project Legends still coming up. And we got some other special surprises coming here in the next few weeks, which are going to be awesome.
Awesome.
And then the
Hey,
power
guys.
couple, the
Hey,
power
guys.
couple of Escondido. What you guys got going
Oh,
on?
we love you too, Johanna. Thank you so much for being here all the time.
Where is
with us.
Joanna at? Joanna,
Where you at?
Yeah.
Joanna,
Huh?
where you at? Where you
Yeah.
at?
Where are you? Well, while she's
in the living
She's
room.
gonna answer. She's like hiding.
He goes, I ain't going to tell you the country I'm in, let alone the state.
Right. So guys, my name is Sohaila, and we call ourselves the power couple of Escondido. This is Angel here, and we are here in California. I am a belly dance entrepreneur expert and also a real estate strategist. So if you are in California, please look me up. We will help you sell or buy your dream home with flair, because at your
just in
housewarming
DC.
party, I dance for you.
Mm-hmm.
What other realtor could say that?
And it's not too far.
And it's not too far, right?
How
Okay.
much extra is it for you not to dance?
Oh!
So I'll say this, guys. You better be. This is broadcasted internationally, so you're gonna be like, yes, sell my house. Now dance. You gotta be careful how you say you dance too.
Right?
Belly dancing at your housewarming party. That's in the vicinity. You have to be in California, though. Yeah, vicinities like San
That's a
Diego
local
area,
benefit.
right? A local benefit, exactly. And Angel,
I'm the best. I'm not professional, but I'm the best handyman. No.
true. I
Let me
agree.
start. So if you guys are looking for a handyman in Southern California, then you want to check out Angel. Angel is professional, timely, and he does the best thing. He takes the work away from you so you can enjoy time with your family.
And also I have a beautiful house.
See, it's right there. I got the big bottle tonight. It's even got wings like Red Bull.
With the bottle. No cup involved, just the bottle.
You don't need a cup.
There it is.
Just grab your straw.
Here's the glass.
Oh, I guarantee if you just put a straw on this, you are not going to work tomorrow. I
No, you're not.
guarantee it.
Next week, I'll bring my lemon drop martini.
Ooh.
There you go. Yeah.
We'll have margaritas. We'll have the margaritas then.
No.
We have to have margaritas next Tuesday. So Angel has his Cinco de Mayo coming up on Segundo de Mayo. That's Sunday.
May 2nd.
And
There you go.
10 to 2. That's from 10 to 2. It will be live streaming on Facebook and Zoom and live here. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So please check out. It's on Eventbrite. Check it out. Cinco de Mayo virtually. And that's it on our end.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Don't forget Coffee with the Queens. We have our season 2 coming up soon.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's coming up soon.
That's on Thursday.
Hey, pretty soon you'll be able to get California's governor in there on Coffee with the Queens.
Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.